back, everyone, to another episode of the Power Podcast. Again, we're covering some WWE tonight, and we're going to talk about the July 26th WWE SmackDown Live. Now, I'm going to start off by saying my PVR totally screwed up. There was too many shows taping at once, so I missed the first 50 minutes of SmackDown. So luckily my wife caught it, corrected the mistake, and I was able to get the last hour and 10 minutes. So I had to go online for the first 50 minutes. So I will tell you what happened there. So what I did actually miss was, let's see here, Becky Lynch versus Natalya, and which Becky won. And I also missed the Battle Royal. Now they announced a 6-man number 1 contenders match on SmackDown Live, but they picked out the 5 people that were already going to be in it. John Cena, AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, and who am I missing here? I'm missing some people. Sorry, let's start from the beginning. Yeah, Bray Wyatt, Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles, and John Cena. But Apollo Crews hadn't been announced yet. He was the winner of this Battle Royal they had. He won that, so he was tossed into the mix of the 6 others, or the 5 others that made up the 6-man number 1 contenders match. Also worth noting was Shelton Benjamin was announced to be coming back to WWE, and he'll be coming to SmackDown. So that's kind of interesting. I'm going back about when I watched wrestling full time a long time ago. He had just started out. He was part of Kurt Angle's team. It was him and another guy. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the 3 of them were kind of like Olympic hero type characters. So when I actually started watching SmackDown, it was Miz TV had just started. So now the Miz comes out with Maurice, and he's talking for a few minutes, and then Randy Orton comes out. Tells Miz Brock doesn't have to be the first opponent back. He said, we can have a match tonight. So after 10 agonizing minutes of them going back and forth, then we get into the match. So we got the Miz versus Randy Orton. It's a non-title match. The Miz kind of really goes after Randy Orton's surgically repaired shoulder for quite a while, and it worked. And like I said, the Miz is growing on me. I didn't like him at first, but now he's growing on me. So he throws Orton to ringside outside, and then he's bashing him against the railing and against the posts and everything. He rolls Orton back into the ring, and as the Miz rolls back into the ring, Orton hits him with a RKO. Then there's this long, dramatic pause, and then he waits for Miz to recover and get back up and hits him with a second RKO, and then pins him 1, 2, 3. Well, it was almost a squash match in a way, because like Miz got had complete control of the match for like 3/4 of it, and then Orton hits a couple RKOs, and that's it. It's over. But it goes back to the point we're starting to see finishers are actually meaning something again. So when you get hit with it, you're knocked out. Apparently the RKO is one of the better finishers, and people are selling it, so that's good. So then we come back from that, from commercial break, and then we have an American Alpha promo. Apparently they're coming to SmackDown next week. Then we see, after that promo, we see an unknown wrestler in the ring. Heath Slater comes out of nowhere, jumps in the ring, gives the guy a punch in the head. Guy falls out of the ring. Now Heath goes on a rant about not being drafted by SmackDown or Raw. Shane comes out. They kind of banter back and forth with one another. And as they're kind of going back and forth, Rhino climbs into the ring out of nowhere. It's like almost like everybody's coming out of nowhere today. And then Heath says, you're looking at the hottest free agent on the market right now. Shane smiles, kind of looks behind him and says, yeah, I am looking at the hottest free agent. So Heath kind of slowly turns. He gets gored by Rhino. It's kind of good to see Rhino back. And going back to when I watched wrestling, back when, like I said, I can't remember when Benoit did the crazy thing he did. But that's when I stopped watching wrestling. And Rhino was probably, oh, good Lord, I'm going back 2002, 2003, maybe? I don't know. Could be around that time. That's when he was still around. They had the ECW kind of rebranding, relaunching kind of thing. So anyways, so then on to the six-man number one contenders match. So we had Bray Wyatt, Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles, John Cena. Ugh, John Cena, man, does he suck? Anyways, and the crowd agreed because they're just, John Cena sucks. Anybody's heard his theme song, they sing along with it. And I don't know, they boo him, but then they cheer him. It's kind of a funny love-hate relationship they have. So, anyways, by the time everybody gets into the match, everybody does their entrances and everything, we get about 3 seconds of a match, and then it goes to commercial. I'm like, these guys will figure out this live stuff for SmackDown eventually. Anyways, we come back, and Bray Wyatt and AJ are teaming up on Crews, and the others are on the outside all laying out on the ground. I'm like, well, what happened to the other three people? That's why I don't like these commercial breaks. You got to get the big spots in before commercial, because when you come back, they don't even show some of the stuff that happened. It's kind of a pisser. So anyhow, and then we go to anyhow, there's lots of good spots. I love the AJ Styles jumping to the top rope, flipping, doing a 360, and hitting the opponent in the middle of the ring. I think he hit it on Bray Wyatt, which is pretty cool. So then we had another commercial break, and we come back to, there's like 3 people in each corner. So I think on one side, Crews was holding Bray Wyatt on his shoulders, ready for a power bomb, and then Bray Wyatt's giving AJ Styles a superplex off the top, and then vice versa on the side. You got John Cena, Baron Corbin, and on the top was Ziggler. So they all do the move. It's kind of cool. Again, we don't know how they got in those positions, so it's kind of weird. And then let's see, the match goes on, and everybody starts hitting their finishers, which is pretty cool. And then it comes down to Cena coming into the ring. He hits about 3 or 4 people with the attitude adjustment. Just like, I've recovered, no problem. I'm hitting everybody with these moves. I'm John Cena. I don't sell. So AJ hits Cena with the phenomenal forearm, knocks Cena out of the ring, and then AJ turns around and gets super kicked by Dolph Ziggler. And he pins AJ Styles clean. 1, 2, 3. I was like, what? So Ziggler is now the number one contender for Dean Ambrose's title. So they'll face one another at SummerSlam, by the sounds of it. Now, I don't know much about Ziggler. It's in almost the year I've been back to the WWE world, he's been kind of a jobber. So I've heard he's held the title before. But I'm like, well, how did he go from being a title contender or holder to a jobber? So I'm going to have to go back and watch some of his stuff. I don't know what was really going on. But so we'll see what happens with him. Maybe they're going to give Ziggler another push, which is fine. After he's been jobbing to Baron Corbin for the last 3 months, I guess he deserves it. He's kind of gave that young lad a good push. So far for SummerSlam, I think we've got Ziggler and Ambrose. We've got Orton and Brock Lesnar, and we've got Seth Rollins and oh, good Lord, I've forgotten who he's fighting already. There's too much going on, people. Anyway, so Seth Rollins has got he's fighting. Finn Balor. Sorry, jeez, this brain farting here. He's fighting Finn Balor at SummerSlam for the which will be the Universal title on the Raw brand. So, and then at the end of the match, Ambrose comes to the ring, Shane comes to the ring, Daniel Bryan comes to the ring. Kind of like an odd bit of pausing and chit-chatting and banter between Ziggler and Ambrose. And that's how we end the show. So, but I have a few comments. Now, one, Mauro Ranallo, I don't know if I'm saying your name wrong, sir, but anyhow, you are a fantastic announcer. JBL and David Otunga are actually not that bad together. I'm not a big JBL fan. He doesn't really call the matches. He tries to be a heel kind of, but he doesn't pull it off very well because I don't know, he just doesn't have the grace of, say, Jerry the King Lawler. But I will say, Ranallo, this guy knows all the moves. He knows all the names. He announces he's like a JR. I miss Jim Ross. And but Ranallo's got his own flair to it. So I enjoy him calling matches. I kind of wish he was on Raw, to be honest with you. But him calling AJ Styles matches are fine by me. The only thing I got a real major gripe about was the Miz TV skit. Like, it went 10 minutes. You're on a 2-hour show. You don't have that much time to be screwing around on Miz TV. We don't need Miz TV. If you're going to do it, squash it in 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know. It's just you don't have 3 hours like Raw does. Look at them; they go overtime. You can't do that with SmackDown. They actually ended 2 minutes before the time was to run out, which was fine. As I don't know how Raw can't figure that part out. But anyhow, overall, good show. I think Raw and SmackDown are both kind of producing stuff that I will find interesting. I was only going to cover one show a week because I'm just going to find doing these podcasts maybe to be a little bit too much. But I'm going to keep doing both of them for now and the pay-per-view once a month. I'm still not going to cover NXT. I just figured that I'm already watching 5 hours a week of wrestling. I don't have time for another hour or two. There's just so much to cover. As I get better at this, maybe I can get more podcasts out. But right now, I'm going to focus on doing some movie reviews, TV show reviews. But wrestling will be part of the weekly podcast. So if you do enjoy the podcast, please follow me. I'm also on Twitter at GlennPower72. And I'm also on Google Plus at Glenn Power. You can't mistake my face. I've got on G Plus. I'm the one with the guy standing behind the TARDIS or standing in front of a TARDIS. So, if you're not familiar with Doctor Who, then go look it up. So anyhow, as usual, until next time, take care.